Hey guys, Zach here. I know it's called football. Here to talk about the 4-1 win over Honduras yesterday. Just real quick, I didn't make a video on the U.S. Canada game. I got really busy. 2 days went by. I figured at this point, anything really that I needed to talk about, I could just mention here in this video briefly. But honestly, at this point, it's not even. There's not too much worth mentioning, other than the formations that the coach used, Berhalter. He seems to be sticking with the 4-3-3. I'm not quite sure what he used. Uh, it's this formation seems so strange for the Honduras game. Um, I guess it was a five at the back, playing Tyler Adams as a right wing back, and George Bello was a left wing back. Seemed a bit strange to me. Obviously, Bello great going forward. Adams more keen, I think, to break out play, and yeah, you do that at right back. But I think not having him in that midfield put a lot of pressure on Sands, on James Sands, and it was an extremely difficult first half. Obviously, despite being down a goal, even if we hadn't conceded that goal, I think to me it seemed like there was no hope, and we were sort of just playing in the dark. That's what it seemed like to me, based off the conversations I had with people on Twitter, a little bit of talk on Instagram. U.S. men's national team only. I think that's the page there that I follow. Lots of confusion in the comments there. So, I mentioned real quick about the just at the start of the video about formations and this 4-3-3. Not a lot of people, and myself included, were expecting big changes at halftime. Especially, it's not very common to see changes just in general. Maybe one player comes on if the game plan is completely wrong. But I think it takes a lot out of a manager to do that. Lots of people watching, lots of people judging. He's already under pressure despite the successful and dominant summer that he had with the U.S. men's team. But I have to say, it took some balls to go out and put those three players on. Obviously, it was Brendan Aronson, Anthony Robinson, and Sebastian Leggett on for Sargent, Bello, and Brooks. Look, let's just talk about the those players who got subbed off. Josh Sargent, for me, he was playing on the wing, and obviously it's not his strong suit. And when you're coming up against a team, excuse me, like Honduras away, you're at Honduras. Um, it's a lot of pressure. I understand. Um, Josh Sargent is a player I like, but I think if he's going to be playing for this team, it has to be through the middle. And I know he likes to come up and ask for the ball to his feet and sort of look around and make plays there. Especially the link up with Pulisic is quite good when it comes off. But for me, playing on the wing just doesn't work. Clearly, there's other options. Conrad could have played on the wing instead of Sargent. Um, Greg Berhalter took the risk, I suppose you could call it that, to excuse me, to play Ricardo Pepi up front. And if it didn't pay off, I think maybe people would have called it a risk. Obviously, it did. This is a kid who's in super form right now. First cap for the U.S. men's team, and obviously he was up for it. And I don't think that was in doubt whatsoever. We'll talk more about Pepe's performance a bit later on. I think the bringing on Robinson for George Bello. Look, for me, I've talked about it before. George Bello is a player I like. Again, another young kid. It's a team full of young players. You have to be rotating players. I understand that, and you want players to get a taste of this qualifying. And again, it's a game where I think four players had made their debut in World Cup qualifiers. I think it was four. James Sands, I know, George Bello, maybe four is too many, but whatever the case is, you want these players to get this experience so when the next round comes, they have a bit more to stand on and in terms of expectations, and maybe they'll be playing a team in Mexico that's obviously a bit more familiar, but of course, with that familiarity comes a bunch more talent. I think Honduras had 18 shots and call the shots what you want. A lot of them maybe not threatening to the goal at all, but certainly allowing Mexico to have open space like that with 18 shots. You would expect them to do a lot better than Honduras did. I think their goal obviously was in part due to Bello not tracking back, and when you see the center back coming in like that, you have to know. And again, it could have to do with the fact that he is young and he's in a high pressure situation, and the whole game he's being pressured and he's being run at. So you can't put the whole thing on him, but surely that's a defensive mistake, and you have to do better than that moving forward, because giving any player that much space, you're going to get punished, really at any level. So. Sebastian Lletget came on for Brooks. John Brooks, I like John Brooks. He's a big, strong defender, but I'm not sure this game was he was the right choice. He's a bit slow. Those Honduran players are quick, man. They're quick on their feet. They're quick with the ball at their feet. God, I wish I could remember his name now. I thought I had it pulled up. Number 17 there for Honduras. He was terrorizing the U.S. defense the whole game. The subs who came on, I think Anthony Robinson obviously did the best, and again, I'll talk about him later on in terms of my thoughts on his performance. Obviously, he got the goal, but he seemed to be the only one who could really stop that Honduras attack on that flank, and we saw George Bello getting terrorized by this guy, and the overlap that they had, it was just. We couldn't control it. Again, it seemed like we were playing in the dark, and I think Berhalter making those changes. Look what happened. 3 players come on, Aronson, Robinson, Lletget, and we score a goal in the next 5 minutes, and it was a great goal. Robinson took it, nerves of steel. I think a lot of other people might have tried to take a touch, but even with the right foot, the so-called weaker foot, especially from left-footed players. But he had the confidence to just kind of side-foot it home and threw 3 players past the goalkeeper, and it was brilliant. And super excited for him, first goal, and he just had his first goal for Fulham last week as well. So look, it was great to see. And after that first goal after that first goal went in, the U.S. just really started to take over. We were forced out of a change with Pulisic coming off injured, man. It's good that we don't have any more games coming up, but hopefully, I haven't really seen much about it, so that's my fault. I'm sure I could have found something before I made this video. It didn't look horrible. It was a rough tackle. Obviously, he tried to continue, and I think when he kicked the ball off that player, you knew, even the way he fell, he just kind of let his arms catch him. He didn't fall on his knees or anything like that, and obviously he was in a lot of pain. So Christian Roldan came on. Didn't see much of him, honestly. I remember thinking like 10 minutes after the substitution, I'm not sure I heard his name called once, but look, he comes on and he's sort of a super sub, and I think that's a conversation he had with the coach as well. I think Berhalter said something along the lines of, look, you do so well when you come on. It's hard to not be able to have it. It's almost handicapping the team to not have a player like that come on and he's going to make a difference. And people can say what they want about Roldan, and maybe the last 2 games he's been a bit underwhelming, but I thought after that first 10-15 minutes, he does the simple things well, and that's kind of what you want for a player who's going to come on, and maybe you want him to change the game, maybe you want a bit more defensive quality, and he's going to sit on those wings and shore things up for you, and I thought he did that well when he came on. So all due respect to Roldan, to Berhalter for sending him out there again, and again having the nerve to say, look, this is what I want you for in the squad, and it seems like he's happy to have that role, at least as of now. Just moving on to Sebastian Legit again, another player who's got a lot of experience, extreme composure. I mean, it's nice seeing him on the ball. I'm glad he got his goal at the end as well. Is happy to see him score that goal. Who knows, man? Goal difference could make a big difference. I know we're tied on points now with Canada. I think goal difference is also the same. Mexico with 7 points, Canada and the U.S. each with 5, so we sit in third place. And again, the result to get put 4 past them after that first half, man, it's not what I was expecting. I was hoping we could win, but 4 goals is definitely shows the quality of this side. Just want to touch on James Sands a little bit. That first half, he really struggled, man. Again, going the formation was just strange. It seemed like he was all alone in that midfield. He didn't look confident. He was getting bullied around, and the second half he looked like a different player. I was a bit shocked that he hadn't come off at halftime actually. But look, man, after the second half started, I thought he did really well. He's got he's got Tyler Adams there that was helping him shore up the midfield, and obviously Acosta. Later on, when they made all those subs, Adams came right into that midfield, and Yedlin came on and did fairly well for himself also at that right back position. So missing a couple players, so Gino Dest, I think most likely the starting right back, unless of course Yedlin hits some insane peak form. But again, a player who seems to come on as a sub and do well. So if this is the case for players, then it might just be the role that Berhalter gives them moving forward into the next round, and I think that's perfectly fine, man. There's a lot of quality in this team. Conrad, I thought we would see come off the bench. I was actually expecting him to come on for Pulisic instead of Roldan, but again, it's all about what the manager wants, and I think at this point you really have to trust him and making the decisions. And he shocked me. Like I said, the 3 changes at halftime. Big changes, big difference, and obviously they did that. So. Just want to talk now about the Ricardo Pepi. I haven't seen much of him. I've heard a lot about him, obviously. I can't say I know everything about him. But coming on and 2 assists and a goal on your debut in a game we needed to win. I mean, if we didn't win this game, the pressure would have kept mounting, and it's going to start to affect the players, I think, after a while. And that's just the case. That's just how football is, and the manager, again, you have to praise him, man, for making the decisions that he made. It took balls to start Pepi. It took balls, I think, to have that formation, despite the fact that I didn't like it. It didn't work. He changed it, and we won, and we got extremely valuable 3 points. So all credit to him, and all credit to the players, man. It was a great game to watch that second half. The first half, a nightmare. I think the second half, that's how you expected this side to play in all 3 games. El Salvador, we didn't really see it. Canada, a little bit of flashes here and there of some quality play, but the Honduras game, that's the second half, at least I should say, is that's how we expect this team to play moving forward. So big test in the next break. And speaking of the next break, I think going forward, the 11 that I personally would like to see is, obviously there's a lot of players who are out, Stefan, with COVID, but it was said before the first game that we played against El Salvador that Matt Turner would be starting in goal. So I would assume that would be the same for these next rounds of friendlies. Friendlies. World Cup qualifiers in October. So I expect Turner to start. I would like to see him start. I think he does well. So my starting 11 again would be Matt Turner in goal, Dest right back, Robinson, McKenzie, a player I didn't really talk too much about. He's in my notes here. Just quickly, I thought McKenzie did really well. I think he looks good in that back 4 alongside Miles Robinson, who again for me, standout player, easily our best defender alongside Anthony Robinson. So the two Robinsons for me, best defenders that we have. Of course, Anthony Robinson offers you a lot more going forward. I don't know if you call him a goal threat personally. He scored a goal, but surely the way he moves and how quick he is, and again tracking back and everything, he's a guy who just wants to work for the team. So having a player like that, it's just brilliant to see. It makes me so happy to have a player like that on form and performing well. So that's my back four: Dest, Robinson, McKenzie, Anthony Robinson. All things considered, this is what I think would be our strongest team. Midfield three: McKennie, Adams, and Acosta. I think you could switch one of those players out. Again, I don't see McKennie being barred from the games in October. Obviously, he broke protocol, and it's a huge disappointment. I mean, that's the big thing I didn't touch on, with the game against Canada. But seeing as how he most likely will be back, that's the three in the midfield I'd like to see. Sebastian Lletget, again, I think comes on and does well as a sub, but I think Acosta and Lletget, most likely the two players that you would see probably rotate between McKennie and Adams, because those two players for me have to be starting in the midfield. And again, the front three: Gio Reyna, Ricardo Pepi, and Christian Pulisic. I don't think those three really can be changed at this point. Gio Reyna is obviously injured. Brendan Aronson did really, really well, I thought. Great goal from him. He's always working hard. He's got great link up with those other two players up front. But for me, Reyna, Pepi, Pulisic, those have to be the three players that we start moving forward. So sorry, this video not my best, I think I could admit that, but if you did enjoy it, then thank you very much for watching. My next video will be on Arsenal against Norwich. So if you're not an Arsenal fan, but you are a fan of the US men's team, then I appreciate you watching. Once again, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time.